Welcome back to the Magic Exists podcast with Dani Margot. When you are moving from the third dimensional living to fifth dimensional being, we also talk about books because we believe magic exists here, and we talk about the books that prove it. So, whether you are on a spiritual development journey or a personal development journey, this podcast is for you. And I am Dani Margot. I am so excited to be here today. I feel so grounded and just really embodied today. Like, I feel like May's Akashic Forecast was a little flighty. And I try to just really honor where I am in all the moments of when I'm recording these, these podcasts. But there's been so much energy and timeline shifts and so much that I want to get into today. So, how it's going to work is we are actually going to talk about life updates and how I'm moving through these things. And then I'm going to share the energy I've been feeling and seeing in my client sessions. And then we'll talk about the Akashic Forecast and how you can really utilize the energy for your life. And I'll timestamp everything. So, if you want to bypass whatever, you can go for it. But I have really been on a journey, guys. Like since September, getting married, leaving my 9 to 5 and selling my condo, moving to the beach, and really cultivating a life with my husband. It's been it's been a journey and it's been hard in the ways of like really sitting with the depths of my shadow and my inner child, and also really empowering and blissful and joyful and fun because my I love my husband so much, and he's been listening to my podcast. So hi babe, if you're listening. He's been so sweet, and then like he'll share with me his insight, and like I don't need to test you on the book report, but I will receive, and I trust it that you say that you're listening to it. I never want to like impose my beliefs or my work on anyone. When I first started my business, it was very much like, this is for me and I can't, force my beliefs on anyone. But if you listen that, I would love to be seen in it and validated in it in that space. But now I'm very much in a space of like, this is for me. And I know other people who I have soul contracts with are meant to find me and will listen. But it is now nice to, hear that my husband listens to. Anyways, let's begin. I channeled this from the archangels this morning, and so I'm going to share it with you because they said this is very resonant with the energy that's happening for the month of June. So you are a true vessel of unconditional love. Everything you feel coming towards you and that you desire will come to you. So no need to put any effort into worrying about your future aspects of your life. Be in the now, in your love, joy, truth, and embodiment. You are so powerful and you will find its sovereignty in a peaceful way. And that's just so beautiful. I'm reading the book Conversations with God, and the narrator mentions that he's channeling, messages from God, and they're just so resonant with like how I feel. But one thing he says is that truth, joy, and love are the frequency of God consciousness. Anything else is not of God. And so like any doubt, any fear, within your body is not coming from your soul, is not coming from God consciousness, is not coming from that place of expansion and growth. And so that's been really resonant for me in these moments, of tribulation. But I want to share something. I have a really big announcement actually. And I kind of want to share like how I moved through it and just to kind of show you an example of what can be done through moments of hurt, triggers, and all the things, and like how the energy of June wants to actually take care of you. Because, so I'm not going to announce this anywhere except for here for right now. And this is what my guide said. And I've talked to my husband about this, but I never wanted kids. And my husband didn't want kids. And this has been a big ancestral healing conversation and journey him and I have been on. And now that we're married, it's been this thing of like, I feel them coming. I know they're coming. I just don't know when. And I've been kind of like pushing them, like keeping them at arm's length. And I've been, I got a coach to help me work through like all the grief of my old identity, moving into this new abundant identity. And now I'm working with a business coach to scale my business and just have all the automations in place and know how to market correctly. And so it feels really good, all this momentum, right? All this energy. I have Uncharted Akasha coming through, which is my 9-week deep mentorship starting June 22nd, which is 3 weeks of soul level deep healing, inner child work, witch wound, past life karma, which I personally did 8 months of past life karma on my own in the Akashic Records because you can't activate what isn't healed. And so then we move into 3 weeks of activations, your DNA activations, psychic activations, your cosmic soul language expansion, so that you can live in a body that has rebalanced your karma, energy, living in a body that can hold your dreams and activate the parts of you that are ready to receive those messages with crystal clear truth and love and joy, and then move into the highest self embodiment, which I think that's where the real transformation and magic happens, where you truly trust yourself and like anyone, anything says to you, whether it be advice or anything like that, doesn't affect you because you are so in your power and in your truth. And so if you're interested in that, I'll leave the link below. This is magic. This is powerful. This is the point of life. But okay, all this to say is that my big news is that Daniel and I are starting to make babies. And this comes with a process, right? So this is a decision and a choice that we have been conversing and talking about. And beginning to share this with a couple friends and family, I realized and I feel the collective fear in this space. And I just really sat with that energy and was like, how do I want to show up in this space of like becoming a mother, being empowered in my choice? And that first came to me when I was like, oh, I need to start trying. We're going to start trying. And I was like, oh, but I'm not trying for kids. Like I've made a choice. I'm going to be a mother. Like that's it. And so it was really interesting because I think trying just feels already disempowering. And like if you're sharing that, like, oh, I'm trying, like for me, that didn't resonate with me. And so that was like my first inclination that there's like some perspective shifting around entering this space of motherhood. And I realized like our choice and how far we've come from this journey is a part of that. And I want to reclaim my identity on I want to reclaim my dialogue around motherhood. And so this is why I want to speak about it and just as a psychic how I'm moving through it. And so what I first did was I connected with my soul baby. And it's interesting because I think I've talked on here how it's been a boy for like since my soul babies came to me in 2023. And I felt like we had this collective mission. I felt so connected to them and I hugged them and I just felt so much joy. And that was the first time that I was like, oh my goodness, I think I'm supposed to be a mother. And so recently when I've been connecting, it actually feels like a girl and that like I'm a girly girl. Like my Instagram AIM or what was it? My AIM was like sporty girly girl 8 in elementary school. So for me, I would love a girl and she's been showing me so many images. And so I just want to share a little bit because I've learned that this isn't normal and a lot of people don't actually have this experience. And so I'm going to begin to share this. But I met with her and she brought me to this room in the Akashic Records I have never seen before. And then she just goes, "You are ready to be a mother." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Like, is there anything I need to do?" And she's like, "No, no, you don't have to do anything." And I was like, "Well, is there anyone, like, who do I need to be to bring you in?" She's like, "You don't have to be anyone." And I was like, "Okay." And then she takes my hand. And then I begin to see like a vision of my life. Kind of like, have you seen Twilight where the little girl, Esme, I think Renesmee puts her hand on you and then you begin to see visions? That's kind of like what happened. And so she brings me to like a moment. It's like Mother's Day and she's like crying with my husband and like they're making lunch for me or breakfast for me, right? Breakfast in bed. And then she comes in and she's like, resolved. She's not crying anymore, but she like feels her heart. I'm like, what's going on? Like, let it out. And she's like, I'm done letting it out. And I was like, what do you think it is? She's like, it's from a past life. And then I see her hand go out, like she knows exactly how to heal it. And I'm like, okay, do you want me to help you or do you got it? And she's like, I've got it, but you can hold me. I was like, okay. So then she clears that karma of whatever was like bothering her. And oh, actually, I remember what it is. Like she spilled like like she was making muffins or something or pancakes and she spilled the batter on the floor and started devastatingly crying, even though like my husband's like, it's not a big deal. We could just make more. And she just like felt this energy. And what I was told was the energy was like this poverty energy of like lack of food from a past life that she was like clearing. And and that's what it was like so devastating to her. She's like, "Oh, I don't want to waste food." But obviously, like imagine as like a little 3-year-old in this vision she's sharing me, like that's the capacity of her emotions and the like how psychic she is. And so obviously like this journey, this spiritual awakening journey that I'm on, it's not just for me, it's to be able to hold her in her space of how psychic she is. And so that was like one of the visions. And it's so interesting because a friend just sent me a soul baby like mama, like a psychic soul baby. I don't know her name, but she like shares that she does, readings for soul babies, and a soul baby that came through hasn't been reincarnated since Atlantis time, and that she's coming here now to be reincarnated in this moment. And like, how big is that? That in this moment, there's a lot of change happening, new Earth energy, new Earth family dynamics, and like new empathy. Children are being born with new empathy and new psychic gifts that we actually can hold, and generations before us couldn't hold. And so we are really like redefining this. So like the witch wound, right? And literally being persecuted for our beliefs, we had to suppress and hide. And now we are being shown and expressed, and like your portal to abundance and success is speaking your truth, right? And so there's so much here. Like, right, this is the energy. This is the energy of June, right? It's like reclamation of your gifts and your dialogue and like your identity and just all the things, right? Realizing like closing the loop of the last 3 years, like, whoa, this is something bigger than me. There is so much bigger than me. I thought it was all about me. It's not about you anymore. It's about the collective. And so there's a lot of themes that I'm going to share about in this way. But so she shares me with that moment. And then she shares with me that we're going to have telepathy, like work on telepathy as her as a child when she can't speak to navigate that. And then she shows me my passing. And she shows me that I passed before my husband, which is very sad, but I've known that for a while. And it's interesting because I didn't actually like perceive the death to be sad, which has been like my biggest journey. In my 20s was fear of death. Like I was so fearful of death and anxious. And now obviously I know our soul lives on. And wasn't even concentrated on that. But I did remember being in a hospital bed and my little daughter was there, but obviously she's like a grown woman, and she's laying next to me and our heads are like together. And I'm like very old, I'm like have white hair and I feel complete with life. And she's next to me and she's like my best friend. And so it's just really beautiful. Like after I saw that, like I was like, wow, like thank you for sharing like what our life is going to be like and what it can be like. And I'm just like already getting teary eyed. So yeah, so I ended up asking her like, well, so I'm very much in this stage right now of just like I'm intuitively like feeling into what the next step is. And I'm about to start my period, so I can't even, like start trying to make babies for another month. So I was just like, well, tell me some things like do I need to get like better health insurance? Like what do I need to do? And so she came forward and was just sharing like, yeah, go get some prenatals. Like there's this person that's going to muscle test you to make sure you're on the right ones. And like really, your diet and nutrition is good. Just stay with it. Make sure they're your non-negotiable. So you can, you make sure to do it. Don't like just skip it, really embody that. That's good for you. And they were like, "Don't worry about the health insurance, you're good for now." And the one thing though was boundaries. And so this is really interesting because she was like, "Don't let other people steer you and externally influence you as if you were still the same person you were when they knew you." And so this is a really big shift I think a lot of us go through on a spiritual development journey where we have become a new person. I stepped into a new timeline beginning of May, and so I'm a completely different person, and, like, obviously, like, I'm the same person, but, like, energetically, I could feel the path I'm on is different, how I perceive the world is different, my perception of the world is different, and you'll see an example of this shortly with another story I have for you, but I I'm no longer sharing my news because I'm seeking validation or a need to be seen anymore, which I think in the past, like community is really beautiful for that. I'm just informing. I'm informing people of my choices and like what I need. So it's like just creating boundaries now because in the future it feels like that's something that I'm going to need to do. That's like important for me. So That was really beautiful, that came through, and I just felt really grateful. And so it's interesting. So I started sharing this news with very close friends and family, and my family was super supportive. And it's interesting though, because a couple friends were not, and not that they weren't supportive, but they started sharing from like a very fearful place. And so Sunday night, I didn't sleep very well. Today's Tuesday. So yesterday I like didn't sleep. I was like so exhausted, and I was at max capacity in terms of like I have a bunch of work to do and readings, but I also actually have to do my real estate license CEUs, which my guys are still telling me are still I have to do since I sold my condo on my own, and it's something they said I'm going to need in the future. And so I have to do 40 hours this week in addition to all the readings I have. And I'm going on vacation next week. So just like, my capacity was full yesterday. And I have a really big capacity. And so anxiety, overwhelm, those aren't things like I've experienced probably for 3 years. And so yesterday was the first time I started to feel anxious. And I'll share why right now. So some friends started projecting like stuff, just weird stuff. Autism comes from old sperm, like you can't drink, like maybe wait till after your trip because you're going wine tasting. Like, oh, just like stuff that like that's not God energy, that's not love, that doesn't resonate with me, but I was getting that and a couple other things from a lot of different directions. And so it was really interesting because I was very much being like an observer of everything, like I wasn't taking it on, but I was noticing myself continue to get more and more dysregulated as the day went on just because of my of the things I had to do. And I've been taking a lot of time off, and like my non-negotiables of taking 2-hour lunches, like that's just not like I that's important to me. And so, I was like in and out of the Akashic Records, regulating my nervous system, going to the beach to clear. And what I realized was several things about myself. So I was taking on all these things, and I was like kind of being triggered because they were telling me these things. And I realized like I don't need to take advice from anyone who isn't living my dream life, which is no one except me. And so I am here on this journey to experience this journey in its fullest capacity, whether it's going to be absolute heartbreak or the most joyful abundance. And I welcome it. I welcome that experience because I know my soul wants it. And I'm really at this place where I want to explore that. I don't need any answers or want any answers. I trust that my soul baby is going to come to me and share with me hits that I need to explore in the exact divine moment. And I'm going to have another 10 or 11 months ahead of me till whatever baby comes through, at least. And so I don't have to have all the steps. Like I can have them written down somewhere and know it, but I don't actually have to be worried about anything. Like I feel so anchored in me. And it was like such a refreshing perspective. And I've always done things differently. Like even when I got married, everyone was like, "Oh, it's gonna be so stressful. You're gonna have decision fatigue." And I honestly didn't feel any of that. And so I've always been different. I never fit in. I always done things differently. And so I know you probably resonate with this because you're probably a black sheep. We're also doing things differently. And so I can't really receive advice from other people because I know I'm gonna handle it differently, and I know and trust in my connection. And so, like, I don't need all the steps actually. I just need the one that she already gave me, and I'm gonna hold that and move through that over the next month spaciously, easily, and with just, like, loving kindness for myself. Like, I truly know I'm exactly where I need to be, and everything will be taken care of so divinely, and, like, if I don't take a certain prenatal, like all of a sudden my destiny child is not going to just be not existent, like I just fully trust in myself. And so this is what came through, like the lesson that I needed to learn yesterday. And it was that like this space is one of really big fear. And as a sacred divine feminine leader, how can I move through this space, right? And it's through compassion. And so instead of in the moments to be triggered by these friends saying these things from a heart centered place, but from fear, instead of being triggered by it, it has nothing to do with me. It's their own projections. And so how can I offer them compassion for the fear that they're living in? Because that fear has nothing to do with me or my life and their sense of trying to control my life through their own fear. And so I really, really felt strongly of like, wow, yeah, how can I bring more compassion for them and kindness to them as they project their fears onto me and give me advice that doesn't resonate? And then at the end of the day, how do I compassionately clear all their energy from my field because that feels important to really be nourished in my own fundamental soul frequency. And I'm really like seeing the joy of figuring it out. I'm really like, I sit in the freedom of the uncertainty. And it's like a blank canvas. I get to create like whatever life or vision I want. And like, how freaking fun is that? Like, just being so present and living and simply just allowing the hard moments or the easy moments. And so, yesterday I was resisting all the hardness. I was resisting, blocking, like, oh, I'm trying to get in a good mood, trying to get in a good mood. But that was just all in my mind. That wasn't embodied. So, today, what I realized is like, that's just being human and I don't need every day to be perfect. And how do I just allow and accept myself through hard days and have that perspective, that high level perspective, like, oh, I'm having like a shit day today and it sucks, but you know what? I'll move through it and I'm just going to move through it as easily as I can, as peaceful as I can. And I know tomorrow will be better. And I feel great today. I'm like on the top of the world. And so knowing that like yesterday was hard, but I know I'm going to reflect on it tomorrow gave me like the strength. And now I have like all these lessons in front of me and like being reflected back who I am and what I bring to the world. And so just like as a psychic, that's what I'm moving through as moving into motherhood. And that's how I'm processing it and moving through it. And I feel now today just so empowered. And I've been calling in, my right people. And I think like I probably want a doula and a midwife and a Reiki master and like all these things. And I don't know exactly, I definitely want some kind of water birth or home birth or birthing center. I definitely don't want any drugs. So these are just like ideas, but like I'm exploring what that feels like, what that looks like to me. And so I actually met someone who's also a practitioner at Unoya Wellness in Redondo Beach, where I work as an in-person, healer. And I go there sometimes to help serve the local population. But this other girl, I saw her on Instagram. She popped up on my feed and I realized she's also a practitioner at Unoya. And she is a post, what is it? Postnatal nurse. She's like a nurse coach and helps through like your birthing process and pregnancy and post pregnancy and all the things. And so we met up today just as colleagues, and she's like a bridge. Her name's Vanessa Illuminated Coaching. And she's awesome. And I loved her perspective. She has 2 kids already. And so it's just so divine that like I'm already calling in people in my life who are maybe on the same life path or, maybe ahead of me or maybe who can support me later. And so that's the first instance. And the second instance was this is wild. So there's this girl, and she took the same intuitive course as me back in 2023. When we met as I was exiting the program, so I gave her one of those like free 50 readings. And then we kind of just didn't talk for 3 years or 2 years. And she randomly found me on Instagram like a couple months ago, maybe January, and was like, I cannot believe you're in Redondo Beach. I just got married and we want to move to Redondo Beach. And she was like living as an attorney in New York. And so I start like browsing her page and I messaged her. I was like, wait a second, you got married 7 days before me. And then now you're moving to Redondo Beach 6 months after me. And now we're both like on the same journey of like motherhood. And so it's just so synchronistic that like people are just being brought into my life at the exact divine moment. And now we have this like community we can share this with. And I really want to like create like a little or not Instagram, but maybe like a text thread with my friends of just like all these pregnant girls. Cause I feel like that's just gonna be so supportive, and cause I've heard the space of this is very divisive and like there's just like a lot of judgment around whatever like you choose. And so I'm very like open right now. I obviously have not done any research. I'm not at that stage yet. But it's very, yeah, interesting to witness it. And I want to be the inspiration for the change, to bring that kindness and compassion that no matter what anyone's journey is, like I trust their journey and I respect their journey, and their soul contract is different from my soul contract. And so like whether it's just funny because I was telling someone that I wanted to have a home birth or I don't know if I want home birth or like birthing center. I don't really know. I have to look into it, but I told someone that and they're like, "Oh, I don't really trust anyone who like doesn't really trust in the medical system." And I was just like, "Oh, okay. Sorry you feel that way." And then like that wonderful Vanessa, I told her that today and she's a nurse and she believes in, she had her baby at the hospital and she was just like, "Oh, yeah, that's so beautiful. Like whatever you decide, I love that." Like you feel the difference energies, right? Of like someone who's embodied and someone who's so disempowered. Because you're disempowered, you learn this one thing and you want to like change the world because you think it's right. And it's actually when you're empowered, you don't need to change anyone because you're enough and you're perfect and you like know and trust yourself and you trust everyone else and their journey. And you can offer them love and compassion and acceptance because you accept yourself. And so also, for Uncharted Akasha, if you want any of these energies, this is where the transformation is, to step into your embodiment, your sovereignty, your power, be in your solar plexus with sovereignty, your inner compass, your heart. Anyways, I felt called to put that in there. Okay, so the divine mothers are coming through right now, and it's interesting because I have not talked to them since last December, or like they haven't held a container for me or anything. I haven't really been guided by them in a little bit. And so divine mothers, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Kuan Yin, Isis, Hathor, all of the beings, they are here right now because there is a message of the sacred divine feminine leadership that's coming through. So a lot of us have this vision right now of what we want our life to be like. So whether it be like, oh, it's 222 my time, angel numbers, there is this sovereignty that you see, this life that you want, the life of your dreams. So whether it's your business scaling, like I do, holding 100 people, more than 100 people, money coming in, the love of your life coming in, your baby that you want to come in, the job promotion, the house, whatever that is, there is this pause that they're wanting you to cultivate right now because you cannot speed up your grounded foundation. You cannot pull your vision and timeline forward. They want to reiterate to you your timeline and your vision is 100% accurate and will come through everything you want. You are the architect of your life. But there is this energy of like, where is it? Why is it not here now? Why is it so slow? And that is the biggest lesson on earth right now. It's time. And especially as a divine feminine leader, is really the energy of surrender into this divine complex system, right? Because it's not just about you anymore. You are part of this ecosystem that is so much bigger than you. And all the moving pieces are coming together like a puzzle piece. And just because your piece is already ready to go, that doesn't mean everyone else's is ready. And so, really inviting yourself to ground into yourself and like asking the questions like, how can I find peace in this stillness, in this spaciousness before the big thing comes? Because it will undoubtedly come. And so they're showing me like more journaling practices, more taking 2-hour lunches if you can, like creating spaciousness. Like, don't work harder, right? Work more aligned. And so maybe instead of like kind of doing busy work for 6 hours a day, because you're like, oh, if I work more and harder, all of it's going to come. Like that's an old paradigm and old belief. The sacred divine feminine is like, you don't have to work hard for money. Money comes easily. Nothing can miss you no matter what you do, it's coming. And obviously you're taking this action from an aligned place, right? So instead of maybe 6 hours to 8 hours a day that you're working, maybe the 3 to 4 to 5 hours a day is enough. And maybe like connecting to your guides and being like, what are the most 3 important things to do today? I'll do those within 3 hours and then you're done. Go have fun. Like, nothing you can do can make you miss your destiny. Like nothing you can do will help you miss your destiny. Like you don't have to keep working and working and working and doing and doing and doing. Like that's so hard on your system. They're giving me this example of like, okay, you're like on the dating apps and you want to date and you're like going on all these dates and it's exhausting and you're not meeting the right person and you're frustrated and you're like, I need to go on more dates. But actually, like, your love of your life is actually ending, like, he's still in his relationship or she's still in her relationship. And so she's learning the lessons she needs to be at your frequency, to be in alignment, to be that divine partner. And so, like, you rushing and doing all this work and putting yourself, like, pushing through boundaries that you've, broken for yourself and exhausting yourself, like you doing all those things isn't going to make her come quicker. She's got to, do her lesson. She's got to figure out her lesson, end that relationship, and then divinely find you. And so, this energy of rushing and doing more, you're realizing it's not serving you. You do for alignment or in alignment because you are the walking embodiment of your magic and miracles, right? Like, same concept of like, oh, I'm going to study more, right? I'm going to learn all these things and I'm going to learn all the spiritual concepts. And then that's how I'm going to manifest like the life of my dreams and all this money. And it's like, well, if you only know it and you're conscious, you're only, using 5% of your energy. You got to embody it in your body, in your unconscious, which is actually how you attract it because that's 95% of your thoughts, behaviors, and actions. And so it's really coming from this place of surrender and empowerment that your vision, like you're not holding your vision so tight, like, oh my gosh, if I hold it, it's going to come through. I'm going to think positive thoughts. Like that's exhausting. It's believing it, knowing it, trusting it. And then from that place, living and in divine synchronistic time, it will undoubtedly come. And on the other side, you will be at peace. You will be in flow because you're not worrying about the future because you don't have to. So the divine mothers are saying that like they're just supporting you along this process to help like stretch that trust muscle within you. And it's, in those small moments of self-doubt or frustration, it's like sitting in that trust and calling in the divine mothers, right? And that's how you continue to stretch that muscle within you so that you can hold more and feel safer and fully believe in your vision. Because your beliefs are what navigate the world. So a lot of, yeah, like just a lot of entrepreneurship, empowerment, like really, really sitting in the space before the big space and creating those non-negotiables that will really ground you into yourself, into your physical vessel, into your physical body, so that you have the right resources and tools for when you do expand. Because if your foundation is weak, it will crumble with the abundance that you have and it will leave you very quickly. But when you actually take the time to cultivate and ground into that belief and into your resources and into your body and into your system, you can hold anything, your capacity. So, any work around nervous system regulation is going to be great. Any fear work, self doubt work, worth work, any of that work is going to be really helpful right now to expand your capacity to hold what's coming in the future because there is a lot of movement and there is a lot of energy coming through. And just think of it like my soul babies came to me in 2023 so that I can have and create a life that is sustainable for them because my daughter's gonna be so psychic and I feel it, I know it. And if I did not awaken, then I couldn't hold her for her fullest capacity. I would suppress her and she would have the lessons that I had, that my mom had, that her moms had, right? So it's very much like you have to understand it's not just about you. Like you have a purpose, yes, but you are also part of a collective purpose with you and your kids, you and your husband, you and your siblings, you and your mother, right? It's like there's so much more at play. And when you are so concentrated on one singular action or relationship or vision, it's like you lose track of what life's about. And so just realigning yourself to your priorities and like really giving yourself time and spaciousness to be in your own energy, like going on a retreat or really, taking time at the beach, taking a trip by yourself and like really being intentional with it, right? Being reflective, like looking back at the moments in your life where like, where was I really hurt or triggered in the last week? Or like, who really bothered me? Make a list of those people and why they bothered you, and then sit with that and like, why? And being like, oh, whoa, like I had to learn boundaries. I had to learn that like I can offer them compassion instead of being triggered. I had to learn that wow, yeah, I am powerful and I actually can hold so much more, right? So it's like this is the fun part of life, exploring that. And yeah, being reflective is just only going to help support your capacity grow. All right. So I feel like I've kind of just been interweaving the Akashic forecast with all these examples, but I feel called to pull a card right now from the Ocean Dreams by Danielle Noel. She is the artist of Rebecca Campbell's most of her oracle decks. And I got this as a gift from my friend. Look how beautiful the deck is. And so we're just going to see what other energy wants to come through to support you on your journey as you begin and continue to create and live the life of your dreams. All right. Inner Sanctum. Oh, it's such a beautiful card. And I feel like this is very much what we were talking about like really being reflective, introspective, and taking that spaciousness for yourself in this moment so that you can really expand your capacity to hold others so that you can offer from a place of love and compassion and forgiveness and kindness and all the things. So, sacred retreat, soul searching. I am consistently unlocking new wisdom keys. I am returning to a magical life and coming home to who I am. So, this is really about your choice of creating that life that you want and how being in this alone time, this solo journey, you will be able to clear out all the old beliefs and emotions to really pave the way to welcome in new and fresh ideas and beliefs. So, the question here that they want to share is: am I ready to carve out some alone time so I can reconnect with my dreams? I love when spirit is just so in alignment and shares. And so you are being invited to explore the vast reserve that rests within your heart. This sweet and tender place helps you get in touch with what truly motivates you. You are a pillar of strength and are always able to attract new opportunities and resonate experiences to you. In stillness, the answers will come. The inner sanctum wants you to connect more intimately with the work that you do, but this need not be a job, role, or title. This can point to expressions and comforts that make your spirit sing. Allow inspiration to flow through you and rise to the surface. Do not be guided by what is logical or sensible. Gauge your desires by what feels nourishing and fun. This is really good because God, universe, source, your intuition speaks through feelings, not through the mind. The words are like the most unclear language. You have to use your intuition, right? Your cosmic soul language. And so, really leaning into the feelings of what feels good. Let loose and spend time with your beautiful self. You are diving deeper into your inner truth. And as a result, you may end up redefining your core values or beliefs. Your confidence will continue to grow as you reconnect in. So, going in will help you go higher. Like that's it. Going in will always let you go higher. And so even if you feel like you're not doing anything right now or nothing's moving the needle, oh honey, oh, honey, you're moving it. And there's this image of like the subconscious. I don't know if you've seen it, where there's like a huge iceberg, and on top of the ocean, there's like a foot of this iceberg, and below there's like 20 feet. And so we see and we perceive that 1 foot on top of the water. That's actually the conscious. We think that's running the world. But actually, the unconscious is underneath, right? That huge iceberg. And that's what you're working on right now. So, the deeper you go into this deep iceberg that no one can see, you clear away all the shit and you really are so anchored in that space, then everyone, right, will see the top part, the conscious transform and transmute. And you will show up from a different place and people will notice that you're calmer or more peaceful or more loving. And I think that's the goal of life, honestly. Okay, is there any last messages that they want? They want me to pull one more card. There's a lot of galactic and elemental energy too. Like the dragons are here. I feel like they don't want to come through today, but there is a message about just like the grid work and the organic grid of Earth. Like we are tying deeper and deeper and anchoring deeper into it. And if you are anchoring deeper into yourself, right? Like anchoring into your Earth star is going to be really supportive. And And with that would be like clearing the energy around your earth star, beneath you, beneath your house, just doing some healing work, getting that gunk out of there. Cause that's not only going to help and support you expand further, but also the people around you, like your neighbors and stuff that like maybe you're not conscious, they're not conscious of this work, but they are, part of this bigger, ecosystem, right? So like when you heal you, your puzzle piece is ready. Theirs isn't yet. But when you do the deeper work on yourself and the land and everything, the organic grid of earth, it will support their puzzle pieces coming together. So it's not all about you, remember, it's about the collective. And so now that I heard that, I'm gonna go and do maybe like a 3-mile energy clearing on the organic grid of earth, where I'm at out here in Redondo. So if you feel called to it, go ahead and do that. And I use the elemental dragons 4 and 5D, and I use them to help support bring the energy through. I bring in divine light through my body. I'm the vessel, and then they bring it through to wherever they need to go, and they clear out all the energy. And then I use the violet flame at the end. It's very supportive. Okay, so that's the message that the dragon wants to bring through. And then now I have the Lyran Oracle. I've been actually reading a lot of Lyran starseeds recently, and there's something about the energy right now about like the destruction of Earth. And I mean, the Lyran Draco Wars, Lyra was destroyed, and there's a lot of refugees here currently who lost their home planet and feel this like sense of losslessness and like being refuge and heartbreak. And like, if you're crying, over seeing someone being deported or someone, being poor on the side of the street, there's like a part of you that resonates with that. Maybe in a past life, you were a refuge yourself somewhere, you lost your home, these energies are here. And it's like we are healing that now in this timeline by being empowered and stepping into our power and speaking our truth and being the pillars of our families and our communities, right? And so just know, like, again, this is not about just you. This is about your past versions of you that you are now here to help clear the karma. And so, okay, which card? Two popped out. Like, take both. All right. These are such beautiful cards, by the way. I love this one. So, arrival and intensity. So, the first card is intensity. So, your perception shift to alchemize the situation. And then the second one is arrival, which is alignment, all is well, healing. Oh, those are so beautiful. Do you want me to read them? Yes, they said yes. So feels like there's a lot of alchemization of just energy in general right now. Arrival came first. This is the moment you've been waiting for your entire life. This is the precise moment for a divine alignment to occur. The universe has conspired to present you with perfection on a grand level. And this card indicates that you have arrived. And so this is, guys, I swear that we are so in alignment. They're like, am I here yet? Am I here yet? This repetitive thought pattern will blindside you and miss you from the gifts that have already arrived. I'm going to say that again. You consistently being in the mental field, am I there yet? Have I gotten it yet? Have I gotten it yet? When is it coming? This repetitive thought has blindsided you and will block you from seeing the gifts that have already arrived. When you're in the state of constant searching instead of being and embodying, you are detaching from the channel of God consciousness, and you are attracting things that are not in alignment with your divine timing, which is here. And so this card of arrival wants to guide you back to your glorious self, and it really begins by anchoring into your precious energy field. If you have doubts about something missing in your life, this card arrives as a calming energy to let you know that you are in the perfect situation and all is going to plan. Now is the time to drop any judgment, any guilt of what is missing in order to recalibrate all sacred energy into your field. Yes, 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 yes. Just receive that right now. Just take a moment. I feel like I needed to hear that. A lot of us need to hear that. Like, you are exactly where you're meant to be. And that is enough. And like, if you're being triggered by this or there's like something not resonating, sit with that. Like, what is that? What does your body want to say to you right now? Okay, so this intensity one, they just want you to drop any form of self judgment and begin to see any of your actions or past scars as sacred gifts of wisdom. So, inner child work and past versions of you work is going to be really important to move forward, right? You can't you can't activate what isn't healed. And so, if you are still having trauma from when you were a kid or how your parents raised you or the church you were in or your household or your community, if you still have resentment and hurt in that space, you're not going to be able to move forward. And so they're just saying, like, it's time to drop all that and forgive. Forgive yourself, forgive the situation, forgive whoever did something wrong to you, because there's no more room in the abundance of your life. There's no room for that. Like, it's like time to go. And so they're saying, like, this perception of realignment, the human transforms guilt into wisdom and opens the doors of inner alchemy by seeing life through all the various angles. Perception shift to alchemize. Yeah. So shift your perspective to alchemize your life. Oh, this was so beautiful. So thank you everyone who showed up, who's been listening to this new podcast. I know it's a little different. I think I'm still trying to find my rhythm with the books and, talking about books that really did change my life, but also like expanding them and trying to get good, readers. I'd love to hear your comments and, reviews on what you're thinking of this. I'm so honored to be here and I love you so much.